The morning air at The View was like any other. Routine, rehearsed, comfortably chaotic, cameras panned, producers barked last-minute instructions through headsets, and makeup brushes made final sweeps across tired faces. Everything was in motion, smooth, predictable, until she walked in. Meryl Streep, not Meal or Mariel, not some up-and-coming starlet or tabloid flavor of the week. The Meryl, grace, elegance, that uncanny ability to command a room just by breathing in it. She settled into the guest chair as though the seat had been waiting for her since the dawn of daytime television. The segment was supposed to be a soft pitch. Promote a film, toss a few compliments, laugh, and get out. But something was off. The air crackled. And Joy Behar, she had that look. Before we dive in, tell us where are you watching from, also subscribe. The one that always meant trouble. So Meryl, Joy leaned forward, voice dripping with performative interest. This new movie of yours, I read the plot. Don't you think Hollywood's basically just recycling the same tired ideas now? Her smile was paper thin. There it was. Whoopi shifted in her chair. A flicker of tension passed across Sarah Haynes' face as she studied her cue cards with sudden intensity. Joy's opener wasn't just blunt, it was a provocation. But Meryl didn't flinch. She never does. Well, Joy, she began smoothly, I've always believed that human stories deserve retelling. Whether they're told through a new lens or echo the past, they matter, especially when families, resilience, and grief are involved. We all live those themes. She could have stopped there, but Joy wasn't finished. Oh, come on, Meryl, she shot back with a dismissive wave. Let's be honest, you've made a career out of crying. The tortured woman routine, the trembling chin, the noble suffering. Don't you think people are tired of watching you sob in expensive lighting? Dead silence. Even the audience, those seasoned fans of midday drama, froze. It wasn't witty, it wasn't cheeky, it was cruel. And worse, it was personal. Meryl's expression didn't change, but something behind her eyes sparked. Dangerous. Focused. That's an interesting take, she replied, voice even. I suppose we each define authenticity differently. To me, diving into emotional depth, showing vulnerability, that's the essence of performance. But perhaps you'd prefer something louder, more performative? Joy's smile faltered for half a second. Authentic? Come on, you're coasting. You've been collecting awards like souvenir mugs. It's not about talent anymore. It's just, oh, it's Meryl? Give her the damn nomination. Don't tell me people are still buying it. Gasps. Audible. Whoopi pressed a hand to her forehead. Sarah visibly recoiled. You could hear the director cursing softly through the control booth. Meryl placed her water glass down gently. Her every move deliberate. Then she turned to Joy, eyes sharp, posture straight. So, what would you define as talent, Joy? She asked softly. And remind me, what's your background in performance? Acting, stagecraft, film criticism, perhaps? Joy flushed. You don't need to be a chef to know when the food's bad, Meryl. But you do need a palate to know when it's complex, Meryl responded smoothly. Critics in my field, those with experience, ask about motivation, about technique, about intention. You're hurling grenades in a porcelain shop. You think you're better than everyone. That's the problem, Joy leaned in, her voice now bitter. You hide behind your Yale education, your Shakespearean training, your damn accents in every film. You act like you're doing Hamlet when it's just another crying mother. The hit landed like a slap, but Meryl didn't break. Joy, I've worked with the best in the world. Spielberg, Scorsese, Demi. None of them ever talked down to me. They understood what we were building together. You seem to think tearing people down is a contribution. It isn't. It's lazy. Joy barked out a laugh. Oh, give me a break. Lazy is you doing the same damn performance with different haircuts. You think you're untouchable, don't you? No, Meryl said simply. I just know the difference between a career and a gimmick. Between craft and commentary, the studio was silent, tense, electric. Sarah tried to interrupt. Maybe we should shift to the movie, the themes. But Meryl raised one elegant hand. No, Sarah, let her finish. Joy seems to have a lot to say. I do, Joy snapped. What's cruel is watching someone your age pretend she's still relevant. Still sexy, still a star, and there it was. The lowest blow. Even Whoopi flinched. Meryl took a deep breath, but this time, she let the anger rise. Controlled, precise, devastating. You want to go there? She asked softly. You want to insult my age, my relevance, after decades of breaking barriers in a business that eats women alive after 40. That's what this is about. Not my performance, not my work, just the number on my birth certificate? Joy didn't answer. Couldn't. You've spent years, Meryl continued, her voice rising slightly, years throwing stones from the safety of your chair. You've built a brand around pretending to ask hard questions, but all you do is antagonize. Because being mean is easy, being thoughtful is hard. Joy opened her mouth, but no words came. Tell me, Meryl said, leaning in, eyes narrowed. When was the last time you created something? Not judged it, not criticized it, created it, risked something, put your name on it, and let the world see who you really are? Still silence. Exactly. The air was gone from the room. No one dared move. And yet the cameras kept rolling. Joy's face, flushed with a mixture of fury and disbelief, looked nothing like the confident TV veteran millions were used to seeing each morning. For the first time in what felt like her entire career, she didn't have a snappy retort lined up. Her co-hosts, seasoned panelists used to daily sparring, sat frozen, stunned into irrelevance by the intellectual war unfolding right in front of them. But instead of relenting, Meryl doubled down. Her words sharpened not with rage, but with the cold, surgical precision of someone who'd been in rooms with real power, real critics, real consequences. And yet she'd never been cut so deeply, not by producers, not by press, not until today, on a show that prided itself on being progressive, inclusive, and women-led. You think tearing someone down on live television is bravery? Meryl said, her voice dropping to a whisper that somehow felt louder than Joy's sharpest outbursts. You confuse provocation with purpose. What you did today wasn't critique, it was projection. Joy blinked rapidly, trying to find footing in a battlefield she'd unknowingly set fire to. You think you're the only one who's been criticized? I've been in this business just as long. I've survived decades on air. I've earned the right to say what I think. No, Meryl cut in swiftly. You've earned the platform to say what you believe. That's different. A platform is power, and power without reflection becomes recklessness. Joy laughed, but it came out dry. Oh, don't get philosophical with me. This isn't a TED Talk, it's The View. People don't tune in to hear you wax poetic about performance theory. They tune in because we ask the questions no one else will, Meryl raised an eyebrow. And is that what you think you've done today? Ask a question? Or did you just launch into an ambush disguised as journalism? The silence said it all. Even the crew had stopped moving behind the cameras. Someone in the control booth whispered, "Do we cut?" But no one answered. No one wanted to own the decision to end what could very well become the most infamous live segment in daytime history. I've had critics, Meryl continued, still composed, still lethal, and I've respected the ones who engaged with the work. They challenged my interpretations, my technique. You attacked my reputation, my age, my face. That's not critique, Joy. That's cowardice wrapped in cue cards. Joy shifted uncomfortably. You want me to sit here and pretend you're perfect? That everything you touch is gold? Sorry, but I don't bow to sacred cows, and you're no exception. I don't expect reverence, Meryl said evenly. But I do expect respect. I've spent decades perfecting a craft that most people can't even begin to understand. And when someone tries to reduce that to a caricature, the crying woman, they're not offering critique. They're revealing their own limitations. The studio was a vacuum. Tension clung to every corner of the room like humidity. Whoopi looked like she was suppressing a headache that was rapidly turning into a migraine. Sarah glanced at the teleprompter as if it might save her. It wouldn't. Joy straightened her back, her voice lower, a bit steadier now, more dangerous in its defensiveness. You think you're the only one who works hard. I've done shows during political upheaval, during national tragedy. I've faced threats, censorship, public scorn. You act like I just sit here throwing shade and collecting a paycheck. Then act like it, Meryl said instantly. Act like someone who's been through all that and learned something, evolved. Because what I'm seeing right now, this isn't strength, this is bitterness disguised as bravery. Joy laughed again, but this time it trembled. Oh, so now I'm bitter. That's rich. You think being an artist makes you morally superior to everyone else? That your feelings, your roles, your little moments on screen are somehow more valuable than what we do here every day? They're different, Meryl replied. And the moment you started comparing the two as if they're interchangeable, you exposed how little you understand either. Don't you dare talk down to me. I'm not, Meryl said. I'm talking to you, honestly, which is apparently something no one else here has dared to do. Joy leaned forward again, shoulders tense, jaw tight. I've had people try to shut me down before. Doesn't work. You think your polished little monologues can break me? Go ahead, take your best shot. Meryl smiled, but it wasn't a smile of triumph. It was the kind of smile that came with a warning label. Detached, dangerous, deadly. You think this is about breaking you? She said. It's about holding you accountable. You called me out for doing what you think is the same role over and over. Let's talk about what you do over and over. You poke until someone breaks, then act surprised when they push back. You bait your guests, then claim journalistic integrity when they call you out. You stir conflict and call it conversation. Joy's mouth opened, but no sound came out. You want to talk about relevance, Meryl continued, no longer needing to raise her voice. Then let's talk about the fact that your biggest contribution to culture today is playing devil's advocate until the devil gets tired of your act. The audience, once murmuring in discomfort, now sat completely still. No claps, no gasps, just the shared realization that something monumental was unfolding. And it wasn't just Meryl defending herself, it was something else, something deeper, the dismantling of a persona that had long gone unchecked. You want to know what's really sad? Meryl asked finally. Not that you tried to humiliate me. That would have required real effort. No, what's sad is how predictable this all was. You set the stage for a confrontation, thinking it would make for good television. What you didn't realize is that sometimes, when you light a fire to burn someone else, you end up choking on the smoke yourself. The words hit like a backhand, and for the first time in possibly her entire career, Joy Behar, opinionated, relentless, untouchable Joy, looked like she had nowhere left to go, nowhere to hide. Joy sat frozen, not by fear, but by exposure. That burning under her skin wasn't embarrassment, not yet. It was recognition. Somewhere in the silence, she knew she'd been outplayed, not by a rival talk show host or a political firebrand, but by someone she never thought would fight back. She thought Meryl would smile, nod, and let it slide. But what she got was something else entirely. Meryl wasn't a guest anymore. She had seized the moment, flipped the narrative, and now held the entire studio, the entire nation, it seemed, in the palm of her hand. Whoopi tried to interject again, voice like sandpaper. Ladies, maybe we should... No, Meryl said without looking away from Joy. She wanted real questions. Let's keep going. Joy finally stirred. You don't get to hijack my show. Meryl tilted her head, expression unreadable. Your show? I thought this was supposed to be a panel, a collective. Isn't that what you preach? Joy's eyes narrowed. Don't twist my words. I'm not twisting anything, Meryl replied. I'm just holding up a mirror. You invited me here under the pretense of discussing my work, and instead you launched an attack disguised as an interview. Now you're angry because I chose not to play your game. Joy leaned in again. Her voice was low but tight with rage. You don't get to lecture me. You don't know what it's like to be in this chair every day, fighting to keep a show relevant, trying to stay honest while keeping everyone happy. Actually, Meryl said softly, I do. And that stopped Joy cold. I've sat through press junkets where men asked me about my beauty routine instead of my performance. I've smiled through late night hosts mocking my roles, my age, my politics, and I did it with grace. But this isn't that. This is something else. This is another woman, a peer, deciding that the best way to make a segment sing is by trying to strip me down in front of a live audience. Joy laughed bitterly. Oh, please. You're not a victim. You're just pissed because someone finally called you out. You Hollywood types live in your bubbles, throwing words like craft and authenticity around like they're currency. You don't get a free pass just because you've won some trophies. You're right, Meryl said. I don't get a free pass. But I do get respect, not for the trophies, for the years, for the work, for the fact that while you were building a career on confrontation, I was building characters that helped people survive heartbreak, loss, trauma. You dismiss that because it doesn't fit your narrative. Joy sneered. God, you sound exhausting. And you sound hollow, Meryl replied instantly. Empty noise with no substance behind it. You poke at people's wounds and call it honesty. But here's the truth, it's cowardice. The difference between us is that I expose myself in my work. You hide behind the shield of your own bitterness and call it courage. Don't talk to me about courage, Joy snapped. You want to be seen as some martyr for the arts, but you've made millions playing the same weepy noble character over and over. Audiences aren't stupid. They figured you out. No, Meryl said, voice now ice cold. You've convinced yourself they have because it justifies your own mediocrity. The words hit like a slap. Joy's lips parted, ready to respond, but nothing came out. The audience, living at home, could feel it. Meryl had cut through the ego, the persona, the years of scripted outrage, and found what Joy had spent a career hiding from. You think you're the only one who sees behind the curtain? Meryl asked. You think actors don't see the manipulation, the desperation, the hunger for relevance? We see it, but we don't drag each other down because we know how hard it is to stay standing in this business. What you did today wasn't just unkind, it was unprofessional. Sarah leaned toward Whoopi, whispering something urgent, likely about commercial timing, but no one moved. Even the advertisers wouldn't dare interrupt this. Joy suddenly stood, needing to move, to disrupt the momentum somehow. You came here thinking you were untouchable, that you could sail through this like every other junket, but not today. Meryl didn't flinch. I came here to talk about a film. You made it personal. Now you want to reframe it as some righteous crusade against celebrity ego, but that's not what this is. You tried to take me down for sport and failed. Joy turned back toward her chair, but her posture was different now. Defensive, rattled, a host losing control of her own stage. I've been doing this for years, she muttered, but Meryl was already ahead of her. Yes, you've been doing it, Meryl said. But have you learned anything in that time? Have you grown, or have you just gotten louder? Joy's jaw clenched. That's the real question, Joy. And it's the one you've avoided for decades. It's easy to shout, it's easy to provoke. What's hard is listening, reflecting, choosing curiosity over cruelty. You've spent your entire career hiding from that choice. Now Sarah tried again. Maybe we can shift gears. No, Meryl said calmly. She wanted to be the one who challenged the queen. Who knocked the legend off her throne? But the thing about taking a swing at someone who's spent their life in the arena, you'd better make it sure you don't miss. Joy sat slowly, hands shaking slightly as they gripped the edge of the table. Her voice, when it returned, was low and trembling. This was supposed to be a conversation. It could have been, Meryl said gently, but you turned it into a performance. And unfortunately for you, you're not the best actress in the room. The studio audience, still stunned, finally released the breath it had been collectively holding, but Meryl wasn't finished. She turned slightly toward the camera, not for attention, but to speak directly to the viewers. The millions watching, shocked, transfixed, and taking sides in real time. To the people watching at home, this industry is hard. For all of us, we make mistakes, we take risks, but when a fellow woman uses her platform not to uplift or challenge, but to humiliate, we all lose. This could have been a conversation about storytelling, about resilience. Instead, it became a case study in how ego and envy can poison a platform meant for dialogue. She turned back to Joy. I'm not angry with you. I'm disappointed because you had a chance to elevate the conversation and you chose pettiness instead. If you like this video, then subscribe.